think people remember Stephen Garcia's name. At least it seemed that way Saturday afternoon outside of Williams-Brice Stadium and inside of it. As we got to mingle with some fans. Stephen, you got to bring your son up to the ball game this weekend. It was neat to see Memphis. I can't believe that's crazy. But overall, wonderful, obviously, to get to hang out with you. And Carolina's 3-1 heading into the off week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hell of a weekend. I'm still somewhat recovering from it. That drive is absolute misery. It's terrible. But the good thing is having a 16-year-old that can drive. So that definitely helped ease the pain a little bit.
That's a good point. Yeah. I can't believe that is Memphis. Like that he's a man. He's a human.
It's crazy, man. We saw Whitney Jones out of the tailgate, and she was like, "Is this your kid?" Like, she used to babysit him when he was, literally a baby. So she's like, "This is how old are we?" And it's like, man, it's scary. It's scary how fast it goes.
Hey, and so you were a little late getting into town because you couldn't leave Friday. Memphis had a game Friday night. But why don't you tell everybody how he played?
I mean, it was a proud dad moment for sure. Being down 9 points with like 3 minutes left and leading a comeback. I think he threw for like 350 and 4 touchdowns. So it was pretty cool little game for him. I told him, I said, man, you need to do more of that. Like, you see where we're at on the sideline at the Carolina game. Like, you got to do more of that if this is somewhere you want to be at.
Hey, UNLV needs a quarterback.
Dude, I've been nonstop talking about it all morning, and meanwhile I'm trying to like hurricane prep for this damn hurricane that's about to whack us a little bit, and my phone's just been blowing up about the whole thing. So
what do you think?
At Holy Cross, and I trained the starter at Holy Cross. I trained him. He's a Tampa kid. So I've been texting him back and forth, and then my buddies are in this group text like, I can't believe this kid won't be playing. Like, way to quit on your team. Like, that's so ridiculous. It's like, I said the same thing. It's like, look, man, you want to make as much money playing this sport as you can while you can. I don't blame the kid one bit. I do blame their team if they on a handshake deal. Like, as you said, man, you got to have something in a contract. That was some of the best advice that you've given me and Pat for sure. Is just have it in writing. But the whole thing is, who the hell knows what to believe? It's all questionable.
I don't. We were talking about this, a bunch earlier. I see a lot of problems in this deal. Number one, the basic things that the NCAA really doesn't enforce, but we're told that there are rules. Coaches can't negotiate deals. Apparently, a coach tried to negotiate a deal. Nobody put anything in writing. Who knows what this agent is up to or wasn't up to or whatever the case is. I understand if you're promised a bunch of money, why would you continue to quote unquote work without being paid? I also, but I'm not a good judge of this because I've never been there. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not so sure and that I would just like hang it up and be like, nah, I'm not doing this, especially for a group of 5 team that might make the playoffs. But I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just trying to think through everything that could have happened to create this scenario here. Is this an overreaction? Is it an underreaction? Is it a reaction that he has been like, he just finally blew off the lid? This has been coming for 3 months. He's begged and begged and begged to get it rectified. We don't really know. But I'll bet you this. I'll cut bet you on this one, Stephen. I'll cut bet you this. I will cut bet you this happens again before the end of the 2024 football season.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, I just saw something just, before we got on the show. Some guy tweeted out and said that since they're, 4-0, he said, I'm 4-0. You still haven't paid me. I want to renegotiate my NIL money. And they're like, no. So, I mean, that's the thing, man. I just don't know what to believe. But to answer your question, or to, kind of piggyback off what you were saying, if I'm the quarterback of a 4-0 team that has a chance to make the playoffs, F the money, man. Like, go play ball. Go play ball. No. I mean, that's like, just go do it. What? Life's too short. I mean, listen, I agree. Like, you got to get paid. If somebody tells you they're going to pay you, you should get paid, and you should make as much money as you can playing the sport. That being said, you have a very, very small, window of your life to play this sport at a collegiate level or professional level. So I don't know. The whole thing is it's obviously taken over the college football world. We're obviously talking about it, but the whole thing is just baffling.
Stephen, that's the thing.
Sucks.
You mentioned both sides of it right there.
Right.
And what I was throwing out earlier, which has to be in the equation, I guarantee you, for the young man, Matt Saluka. I'm looking at, this is just one source. There's others. NFL Mock Draft Database. His overall ranking is 525. He's not a draft prospect right now. So
right.
So to your point, one big NIL deal, which he could probably get in the free market, that might be the last time he ever earns a nickel throwing the football. By the same token, you're 4-0, and everybody's looking at UNLV like they have a chance to be the media darling this year. They have a chance to be the Coastal Carolina or the Liberty, what have you, the last few years. You're going to give all that up, and it may or may not work out at the next school. So I see it from both sides, but it's still an ugly situation.
Absolutely. I can promise you this. I'm hammering whoever UNLV is playing next game. They're gonna get. I don't know if they can recover from this. I mean, it's such a touchy subject, and now all the eyes are on them for the wrong reasons. I don't know if they can recover from it.
Well, it's Fresno State, 3:30, Fox Sports 1 on Saturday. Probably be some more eyes on this than there were originally. UNLV is still a 1-point favorite in the game, and then we'll move on to the Gamecocks here. I will add this, and I don't want to. This guy's got great hair, by the way, Matt Sluka. I don't want to. Yeah, it is. It's a nice salad. It's very well groomed. It's nice. He's got the jacket buttoned all the way up to his Adam's apple. It's kind of a neat look. But I don't. He's look, man. They're 3-0, and he's run the football very well this year. I think 239 yards or something through 3 games.
And that's his game, though. He does not spin the piglet very well. He's a runner, and it worked wonders for him at Holy Cross. It's obviously working at UNLV, but yeah, he doesn't
throw it well.
He's torching his name a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, Stephen, some coach offered him $100,000. Like, he ain't worth $100,000. So who's the idiot that offered him $100,000? No wonder they haven't paid him. He's completed 40% of his passes.
If someone offers you $100,000, why is that not in writing?
Yeah, I don't know. That's. I get my whatever. We could do this all day.
Yeah, it'll come out in the wash eventually.
Well, speaking of transfer quarterbacks, Robbie Ashford got his chance on Saturday night, and he performed just wonderfully. He was the highest graded PFF quarterback in college football this week.
Oh, wow.
And I get it. It's only Akron, man. I get it. But look, they need to have. Linares has gone down twice this year, Stephen. In 4 games. So they got to have somebody who's capable of going in there and playing well. So what did you make of his performance, and what do you make of this quarterback room as they enter their right now most important stretch of football this season?
I mean, being on the sideline, getting a chance to talk with Linares and talk with Ashford. I mean, those guys they're some dudes, which is good to see. Did he play baseball at Oregon? Andrew Clifford was telling me he played baseball there.
He did. Yeah.
I'll be damned, because there's a still shot of him, and his elbow is literally like this as he's getting ready to throw. I'm like, oh my God, that is not good on the old Tommy John deal. But Cliff was like, yeah, he played baseball, and that's kind of a baseball motion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he spins the laces off the ball, and took care of the ball. He can run, obviously, and yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a good game. It's a good moving forward point. Obviously Ole Miss is going to be a little bit more dangerous than Akron.
Yeah, just a tad. Yeah. Overall, the offense, Stephen, we go back to week 1, and now we've seen week 4. How would you describe their growth?
Just night and day different. And I talked with Coach Elliott. We're trying to get him on the podcast, and I was like, dude, the offensive line, the run game, just the overall team is night and day different than when I saw him on the game one in ODU. And he's like, yeah, we still got a lot of stuff to clean up. It's just kind of the cliche stuff that coaches say, but he's like, we got some dogs on the line, and it's definitely improved. I mean, you can see that clear as day. Just as a normal fan, you can see that it's night and day better.
What do you see with this offensive line that presents itself as a group that has Sean Elliott influence in it?
From what I've seen, and being an offensive guy, I actually kind of watch the offensive line. They all move kind of in sync, if that makes sense. When there's a guy pulling, there's somebody that's blocking down, there's somebody blocking out. It's just everything seems to kind of look how it did, back in 2010, 2011, those, the Coach Elliott run game days. And that's a good problem to have.
Okay, so this is an actual problem. They have been sacked 16 times through 4 games. But Stephen, matter of fact, I think we were talking about some of this at the condo on Saturday night, which, by the way, I made it home in an hour and 28 minutes. Can you believe that? From Columbia, bam, to my door's hour and 28 minutes. Yeah, it was incredible. Followed a state trooper the whole time.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
he went 85. I went 85. He went 90. Yeah, lo and behold, there I was, 90, about 100 yards back. Okay, 16 sacks though. That's insane. It leads the country. There's too many, but that's not all on the offensive line.
Correct.
How would you describe the sack issue?
Well, I mean, I think it's, you got a redshirt freshman back there that's, trying to throw the ball downfield and, holding on the ball a little bit longer than, as opposed to taking a check down. So yeah, I don't think 16 sacks is strictly on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm. The running backs, the tight ends, Shane Beamer has mentioned them as well. When it comes to the sack, chipping and this, that, all the football terms that are really that get people all uppity. Okay, this wide receiver group. You played with some pretty good wide receivers at South Carolina, didn't you? If I recall, or let's see, yeah, Alshon, Kenny was there. Yeah, there's some good ones.
Yeah.
The more that I watch Mazeo Bennett, I'll be honest with you, and I don't like doing this, so I'm not trying to put pressure on anybody. The more I watch him move, Stephen, see a lot of Kenny McKinley in him, man. A lot of Kenny. What do you see in that young man? He's only a freshman.
Yeah, he's got the kind of the Kenny wiggle with him, and Ace Sanders also had that with him as well. But yeah, it is kind of a skinnier kid that has that wiggle in him, and that's Coach Mangus' term. It makes a lot of sense. He's got a wiggle. He finds a way to get open. I mean, that's kind of the point.
We were talking about it yesterday. Great route running can trump great 40 time a lot.
I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what his 40 time is. I don't really care. I just know he separates. Yeah. And there are guys that just separate better than others that run a 4.7 as opposed to a 4.38. And he has that. And I mean, that's something that stood out to me the first time I watched him. I was like, okay, that's a guy that's already ready to play at this level and has a chance to do some really good things.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I mean, even on that, on his touchdown catch, I saw somebody posted. I mean, he literally just did a little hesitation to the corner, kind of got his head over there. And then, I mean, the safety looked like he, crapped his pants a little bit, just kind of buckled.
Yeah.
Just buckled. I mean, he was wide open, and, Asher made a great throw on a line, down the middle of the field. So
great.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the wiggle that can get open.
I love that term. We need to get Coach Mangus on just so I can hear him say that. You know what else he does that Kenny used to do a lot? Smiles. He has fun playing the game, man. Kenny had a blast when he was out there, didn't he?
Dude, I mean, it's contagious, man. It's absolutely contagious. You got one of the leaders on the team that is just constantly, got the Joker grin going. I mean, it's contagious. And it goes a long way. People don't really think about it, but, and I see guys, especially quarterbacks these days that are all just, just kind of what are those Easter Island, just kind of just stone faces. They don't show any emotion. It's like, what are you that cool, man? Like you're really that cool. You can't show any emotion. You can't get pissed off at yourself. You can't be excited about yourself. Like, I don't know. Come on. I mean, arguably the greatest quarterbacks in the history of this game. Think Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Mahomes. I mean, all these guys, they all play with such passion and emotion, and kind of wore it on their sleeve. And, I think that's, like I just said, it's contagious, and, the team can feel that.
Stephen, on the defensive side of the football, by the way, anybody that missed Kyle Kennard's interview yesterday with Paul Feinbaum, that's, if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I refuse to watch anything Paul Feinbaum. I can't do it. I cannot, and I will not do it. That's
okay. That's all right. I'll just speak on the Kennard side of it. That's what you want when somebody represents your university. Kyle Kennard is the whole package. He leads the country in sacks. He's on pace to break a record around here, held by a guy who goes as JD, in case anybody hasn't been noticing. But look, man, you got Ole Miss coming to town, and then you got to go to T-Town. And then for you Clemson fans, that's Tuscaloosa. And then you have to go to Norman, and Oklahoma's offense certainly has struggled. But there's talent there, and I don't ever discount them in any way, shape, or form. Clemson is putting up a bunch of points right now. Missouri A&M capable of putting up points. So they're going to have to put up points. The offense is, but this defense is really freaking good.
Yeah.
They really are. And they're probably going to continue to be good against all of these teams, but that just might look a little bit different than holding Akron to 7 points and 140 yards of total offense. Most likely it will. So after 4 games, Stephen, like I thought the defense would probably have to carry them through at least a quarter of the season. Overall, big picture, looking at what this defense has done and where this offense has become, this team now overall with this stretch looming, what do you think?
I think these games are a lot more winnable than I think people, myself included, kind of anticipated in the beginning of the year, especially after the ODU game. Ole Miss, I think, is going to be obviously the tougher of all these opponents, but Oklahoma's definitely beatable, even in Norman. Alabama's Alabama, and it's in Tuscaloosa. It's a beast to play over there. But I mean, Clemson's beatable. Missouri, is beatable. All these teams, A&M's definitely beatable. Even though I do like their quarterback they got playing now. That freshman can play, but I think these games are a lot more winnable than a lot of people anticipated going into the season.
What is it that impresses you about Jackson Dart?
First off, his name is perfect for a quarterback. I mean,
it is throwing darts left and right.
That's unbeatable. But I think his emotion. The guy plays with his heart on his sleeve, and he's as confident as they come when it comes to the quarterback position, and for good reason. I mean, the kid can play, and Lane Kiffin's offense is kind of good, and you got guys that are kind of running butt naked wide open, so that definitely helps the quarterback. But yeah, I mean, the kid can play.
Got to get pressure on him, right? I mean, you can't just let him dissect.
He'll pick you apart. He'll pick you apart. But I mean, that's the good news, man. Our defensive line is pretty damn good. So
yeah,
if they can get pressure on him without blitzing a whole lot, I think we got a legit chance.
Yeah, I do too. Look, I do think that if things go the right way, much more so than some other game, or in some games more than others. I really don't think that there's an opponent left here that Carolina can't compete with to win the game. I just don't see a blowout there. Now, could they get blown out? Well, of course. But could they beat everybody on that schedule? I actually think that they could. I think everybody's writing off teams like Alabama, and I understand why. I get that. But not me. When I see a good defense, I feel like they can keep you in any ball game that you play in, Stephen.
100%.
And these guys really are really, really good. Dylan Stewart is an interesting case study right now. We know how good he is. There's no doubt about that. But the last couple of games, if you go back and look at what he did in games 1 and games 2, and then what they did to him in games 3 and 4, starting with LSU, how they kind of walled him off. And what you were a quarterback, so you understand what it's like to get pressure and what you're looking for in defensive ends to try to mitigate that pressure. Have you noticed anything the last couple of games, maybe something that he's trying to work on that make him a more complete player, even being so young?
To be completely honest, no, I haven't really focused on it that much. But yeah, I mean, anytime you got a player like that as a true freshman, and on the other side of the ball, you got another guy, both of those defensive ends are going to require a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. So, you kind of take the running back out of the equation because he's going to have to chip at least for a second, or maybe stay in there, get some extra hands on these guys. So, that kind of leaves the interior defensive line to get a little bit more pressure. So it's a kind of a perfect storm, and those guys just got to keep doing what they're doing because they're kicking some ass right now.
Last one for me, Stephen, just the bye week. You think it comes at a good time, and what does that look like? Obviously, it's hard to know exactly what it looks like for Lenoris because we're kind of left in the dark a little bit. We hear different things, but just how healthy he is. But what do you feel about the bye week leading up to this game?
I think it's good timing. You kind of get everything, everyone kind of healthy, and talking with Lenoris on the sideline the other day, I think he's going to be playing. I don't want to break any news or anything, but I foresee him, suiting up on next Saturday. But yeah, I think it comes at a good time. You're 3-1. You kind of at the quarter century of the quarter mark of the season, and you kind of get everybody healthy. You kind of focus all in on Ole Miss, and you got 2 weeks to prepare for them, and that's it's usually a good thing.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a great. I mean, obviously, injuries aside, I think it's a good place to reset.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do during the bye weeks outside? I mean, you know what I mean, from a football standpoint.
I drove my happy ass down here to Tampa, and absolutely, you want to talk about a factory reset. I completely did a reset. It was awesome to be honest. It was much needed, man. I mean, it's an absolute, ball buster. Yeah. Going summer workouts, fall camp, you're in season, right. You got class sometimes, you're supposed to be in class all the time, but sometimes you got class, you got meetings, it's, you get your ass handed to you a few times. It's like, man, I just need to just stop and just completely, turn my brain off and, go home, see the family, and, just shut it down for a couple of days. It's much needed.
I'm so glad that you said what you said. I think that a lot of people believe that, well, they played 4 games and not that it's a bad thing. I just don't think most people digest that. Actually, no, this football team has been go pretty much since July. Some of them actually since way prior to that.
I was about to say, yeah, I think they're practicing in May. I'm not sure what their summer schedule is, but we had the month of May off back with Coach Spurrier. Then we're June, July. It's full speed. But yeah, I don't know what their schedule is for the Maymester, but I'm assuming that a lot of the guys are still there, and it's a grind. It truly is it's a job.
They're 3-1. Have you had a chance to watch a bunch of the other teams play in the SEC thus far?
Bits and pieces. Yeah, no,
take a bath on a cut.com bed, maybe on an SEC team, or somebody you in?
Not yet. 9-0 so far.
What? Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
What listeners taking a beating?
I don't know. I don't know who these people are.
These just random people.
Like an idiot.
Just getting crucified.
I thought you lost money on the well, that was not SEC, the UCF game, right?
Yeah, I was about to say SEC. I'm doing well. The UCF
9-0. Okay, so for those of you that want to take Stephen to town, don't do an SEC game. That's his strong suit. Mention promo code Gamecocks, 10% off. Don't forget Gamecocks. But yes, you can go ahead and you can either help Stephen make his house payment, or you could put him in the poorhouse.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Exactly.
They're not putting him in the poorhouse.
No, right. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Before we get you out of here in a couple of minutes, we'll obviously talk much more about this next Wednesday with you. But have you thought about this? I hate to do this to you. Have you thought about the fact that it's been 15 years since 4th-ranked Ole Miss came into town You were the quarterback of that team that upset the Rebels that night at Williams-Brice Stadium, the birth of Sandstorm. And we'll talk again. We'll talk a lot about it next week.
That was 15 years ago?
2009.
Holy hell.
Do you remember who the quarterback was for the Rebels?
Yeah, rest in peace, Jevin Sneed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sad
I got
story.
a funny story. Masha's not here right now, and I'm not sure if she's going to hear this, but I was on a bachelor trip to Breckenridge and ended up hanging out with Jevin Sneed's old girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty wild.
And she seems like a nice girl.
She was a sweetheart.
Yeah, I just could only imagine. Yeah,
she was a sweetheart, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, she sounds like a nice gal.
Yeah, that was before the marriage, so we're good to go.
Oh yeah, everything's fine. Yeah,
sure.
If she's anything like my wife, she won't listen to this thing. My wife hadn't watched a show of mine, and I don't know if she's ever actually watched one. But it is what it is. The Jevin Sneed story was a sad story.
15 years. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And Darian Stewart decleated Dexter McCluster last night. He was that night. He was never the same.
He had a pretty good little stint in the NFL.
Yeah, he did.
He did okay.
I wanted to make this a little bit more, dramatic than it was, but he did decleat him. I mean, he popped it back.
No, I remember. Yeah, Mo Brown had that long reception on the little hitch route I threw him.
Yeah. Hitch route. I forgot those exist.
Hey, we saw some slants.
Yeah, saw slant.
The slants got in the playbook against. I'm going back to LSU. No offense to Akron, but we saw a couple slants in the playbook.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, slants have forever worked. As long as you have guys that have some wiggle and can get open.
Right.
They've got a couple of those dudes. Hopefully, they're 100% healthy. And real quick too, before we let you run, obviously today the new Tailgate Talks is out. We do have a promo for that we'll play a little bit later on for folks that haven't seen it. You can pull up the Chief Sports app and watch it and listen to it. It's available on with our dear friends over at Gamecocks Plus. Can we all give a shout out to Dakota Watson? Dude is a hard-working, great guy, isn't he? With Gamecocks Plus,
elite man. He texted me and Pat and said he was up till 2:30 in the morning last night, editing and getting everything kind of set up. So yeah, I mean, God bless him. He's busting his ass. I'm interested. I got to talk to you about this 1801 little situation we got on our hands.
Well, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Best of luck to them.
That's it's going to be an interesting dynamic there.
Mm-hmm.
Pat is real excited about it. In case you haven't talked to him.
No, I have. Yeah, I have.
I love a little competition though.
Good luck to them. We'll say that. Good luck to them. I bet it was neat to see a bunch of fans on Saturday too, man.
It was. I'll show you right now. This Gamecocks flag. This guy handed it to me. He's like, "Hey man, I've been wanting to see you for a long time. I wanted to give this to you." Me and my buddy, he was with his buddy. He's like, me and my buddy were at our base in Iraq or Afghanistan when you guys beat Alabama, and this flag was hanging up, and I just want to give it to you. I was like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was really cool.
That's awesome,
Stephen. I something very similar happened to me at the LSU game. A guy who's in our chat box often. His name is Bobby Patterson. He was blown up in Iraq. And
we talked about this at the condo.
And he gave me one of two coins. It was made for the other one is making its way to Coach Beamer, and he gave me the other one, and it said Operation Iraqi Freedom on it with a Carolina logo. And I said, I can't take this. I'm not that important. And he looked at me and said, "You are to me." And I thought in that moment, maybe we do a little bit more for people than we thought we did. So you and I will have to do a show with those two things. You drape it, and I'll just. That was neat.
Yeah, no, it is pretty cool, man. And like you said, for some reason, people really care about what I did and what I say and what I do. It's kind of baffling to me sometimes, but I mean, it's a pretty cool story.
That's a great story. That's an awesome flag. You see if we can get that framed, man. Be a hell of a frame, but You don't want to lose that thing. You don't need your baby throwing up on it or wiping her butt with it or something ridiculous.
In a few weeks, you can remind Alabama fans that A, you're Cuban, not Mexican, and B, Cubans love America. They understand how blessed we are in this country, and so I grew up in South Florida, so I know a lot of that part of the population and how they view America, and it's a very healthy outlook, unlike some that we have going on right now. I don't have to tell you that, but that's what made me think of it when you referenced the flag.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, look forward to getting a chance to go back and listen to what I was watching be produced on Saturday. Again, Tailgate Talks is out today. Stephen, Pat, a host of Gamecocks. Even Flint didn't stutter through his 8-minute segment, which is tremendous for him.
I love how much you guys bust each other's balls, man. It's funny as hell.
Yeah. That'll never. It can't stop. I will never let that end. Look forward to doing it again next week and getting everybody ready for Ole Miss and South Carolina, man. It's going to be a lot of fun next Saturday. Have a great week, dude. Thank you so much for what you do. Really appreciate it. Give me a shout later. We'll run the gamut.
Sounds good, guys. All right. Appreciate y'all.
See you, Stephen.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.